Olá, seja bem-vindo à Canção Nova e ao programa Teologia do Corpo. São João Paulo II, através das suas catequeses, apresenta-nos uma reflexão sobre a forma como devemos viver o amor humano. Hoje vamos falar sobre esta pureza de coração a que apela Cristo no Sermão da Montanha, no contexto do matrimónio, especificamente na vida do casal. Será que na nossa esfera de marido e mulher também devemos ter atenção à forma como vivemos a nossa realidade de matrimónio? Será que devemos refletir sobre esta forma de viver à luz do próprio Evangelho? São João Paulo II não tem dúvidas, ele afirma que sim, e que é possível ao casal, homem e mulher, viverem plenamente a pureza que Deus deseja no ato sexual, sem recurso a nenhum outro método contraceptivo, sem recurso a nenhuma falsidade entre os dois, poderem viver na sua própria natureza a fertilidade e a beleza de toda a relação sexual conforme o plano de Deus. No programa de hoje vamos conversar um pouco mais sobre os métodos naturais de planeamento. Aqueles dois que, segundo a expressão mais antiga da Bíblia, serão uma só carne, não podem realizar tal união ao nível próprio das pessoas, senão mediante as forças provenientes do Espírito e precisamente do Espírito Santo, que purifica, vivifica, corrobora e aperfeiçoa as forças do espírito humano. Se a encíclica Humanae Vitae exorta os cônjuges a uma oração perseverante e à vida sacramental, dizendo: abeirem-se, sobretudo da Santíssima Eucaristia, da fonte da graça e da caridade, recorram com humilde perseverança à misericórdia divina que é ortogada no sacramento da penitência, falo, enquanto é grata ao Espírito que dá a vida. Os dons do Espírito Santo, e em particular o dom do respeito por aquilo que é sagrado, parecem ter aqui um significado fundamental. Este dom, de facto, corrobora e desenvolve nos cônjuges uma singular sensibilidade a tudo aquilo que na sua vocação e convivência traz o sinal do mistério da criação e da redenção, a tudo aquilo que é um reflexo criado da sabedoria e do amor de Deus. Portanto, aquele dom parece iniciar o homem e a mulher de modo particularmente profundo no respeito dos dois significados inseparáveis do ato conjugal, de que fala a encíclica em relação ao sacramento do matrimónio. Precisamos urgentemente construir uma cultura de vida, uma cultura onde o casal possa viver plenamente o seu amor de forma total, livre, fiel e fecunda, com respeito por aquilo que é a proposta do Evangelho e o desafio de Cristo, para vivermos a nossa natureza no respeito pelo nosso corpo e pela forma como fomos criados. A fertilidade é uma esfera do âmbito da vida do casal muito ameaçada no nosso mundo contemporâneo. São as mulheres férteis que, por um lado, tomam contraceptivos para não ser férteis e, por outro lado, as mulheres que têm algum problema de fertilidade que procuram soluções como a fertilização in vitro, que também, sabemos, têm consequências bastante negativas. Mas um casal cristão que deseja viver plenamente a sua fertilidade tem alguma possibilidade de encontrar outras respostas? Sim, tem. O Creigthon Model e o Fertility Care System são hoje duas excelentes respostas para que o casal cristão possa viver em plenitude a sua fertilidade. Não só ajuda os casais férteis a regular os nascimentos, como também ajuda imensamente os casais inférteis a encontrarem a sua forma de constituir família, a forma como Deus deseja. Angelique Garcia é enfermeira, trabalha na área do Fertility Care System já há 23 anos. Atualmente é diretora do Centro de Fertility Care em St. Joseph, no Novo México. Angelique, welcome to our program. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will talk a little about Fertility Care System. this big word.
Yes.
So the first question I will ask you is, what is fertility care system?
Yes. Well, the fertility care system, the big name for it is the Creigthon model fertility care system. And it is a natural method for family planning primarily, but it is an amazing system to help women to maintain, to monitor, and to evaluate their gynecologic health and fertility. So we teach couples how to identify the times of fertility and infertility in their cycles, but in doing so, we can also identify when they have problems. So usually when women have gynecologic problems, they'll go to the gynecologist, and for many of their problems, they get put on the birth control pill and the chemical contraceptives. And unfortunately, although very well-meaning, these doctors are not actually correcting the underlying problems that are causing the difficulties in the women. So the birth control pill just sort of covers, or we like to say is a Band-Aid, or like a plaster, they say in Europe, over the problem. So nothing is ever corrected. And then when the woman wants to get off of the birth control, they want to have children, then they have the same difficulties that they had before they got on the birth control. So nothing has ever been corrected. So we use the fertility care charting, the cycle charting, to identify the problems, the specific problems in the woman's cycle. And then we're able to correct the hormonal difficulties, we'll be able to identify the organic difficulties, and then they get a real solution to their gynecologic problems without suppressing their fertility.
And those solutions, they are also with medicaments or?
Yes. We work with our naprotechnology medical consultants. These are physicians that are specially trained in naprotechnology, which through fertility care is a new reproductive science that we use to actually correct the gynecologic problems that women have. So they're able to do testing that is timed according to the events in the woman's cycle. So if they want to evaluate a certain phase of the cycle or a certain type of function in the cycle, they can do that because the woman knows her events and her cycle. So she knows when she's ovulating, she knows when she's finished ovulating, and then we can do the testing in a timed way, which is really very accurate.
So in these methods also the women are asked to observe and register every day how she's in what part.
Right. Her signs of fertility. So specifically the Creigthon model, the fertility care system, what we do is we have women observe for the presence or absence of mucus. So this is a cervical mucus discharge that the woman has at certain times that when it actually flows to the opening of the vagina. So she can make observations and she can identify these times really nicely. And then when they learn the system, the couple learns the system together. So the man is involved in the family planning and he can support her in their using days for avoiding pregnancy, whether they want to try to achieve pregnancy, and then he can support her in getting her gynecologic problems addressed as well.
So these methods or this system, this fertility care system, it respects the nature of a woman, the real nature.
Absolutely. And that's really at the heart of the system, exactly, is that we don't have to bypass or chemically suppress or surgically remove our fertility because we can learn to live with it. And our goal is to get couples to actually not only understand their fertility, but we really want them to appreciate their fertility. We want them to realize that their fertility is a gift. It has the potential to unite them with their spouse, not just physically, but spiritually. But then it also has the power to create life with God. So it's a powerful thing, fertility, and it deserves respect, and we want it to be appreciated as a gift. And it's the effectiveness of the system is extremely high. It's 99.5% effective to avoid pregnancy. So that's as good or better than anything that's natural or artificial available in the world today. So the high effectiveness is, gives the couples confidence that they can use the system effectively and still live the real meaning of their marriage and appreciating their fertility.
And when you speak about using the method also to avoid pregnancy, but we can do this with total presence of the responsibility of being a father and a mother. That is present. It's not just I don't want to be a mother now. It's that for serious motives, couples cannot have a pregnancy in this moment. It's not good for them. And with this fertility care system, they can leave that responsibility, that parenthood.
Absolutely, absolutely. Way. They can live the promise of their marital vows. They can, accept the fertility they've been given, and in doing that, they can use the system to space their pregnancies. And the church certainly allows us to do that. If we have serious reasons to avoid pregnancy, and the church doesn't presume to give us examples of that specifically, it allows the couple to decide amongst themselves in consultation with God prayerfully and with an open heart to the potential for children to be able to space their pregnancies. But we do always, we very often do have couples beginning to use the system for family planning to avoid pregnancy, who come, of course, they come from the culture. They come from the world that we live in. And so they very often, they know that they desire what we have to offer, but they come with these attitudes that we call contraceptive attitudes.
Yes.
Where they think maybe, you should be able to have a baby when you want to have a baby. They think very much that you should be able to control that very mechanically.
Yes.
And although the system is very highly effective, we always teach the couples to, the purpose of their love. Their love was given to them by God. Their love should be fruitful, and it is something they should always be open to, is that their love should create life.
In this fertility care system, you speak about God with your patients.
We do. We do. And they don't have to be Catholic, of course. They can be, of any denomination. But I think even people who are non-believers, the people who don't believe in God at all, they can appreciate that they were created, maybe not by who specifically, but that there's a nature in being a man, and there's a nature in being a woman, and they can acknowledge that we're different, and that there's a love that they've been given by whoever that they can appreciate and they can learn to live with. And I think even just from a practical point of view, I think many women, regardless of their faith, do not want chemicals to be put into their body to be able to manage their fertility. I think they want something that's natural. They want, we're all thinking green, right?
Yes.
We're thinking green ecologically. And I think it's a perfectly ecological system. It just happens to be really highly effective as well.
And when you speak about God in this context of science, because nanotechnology is a science.
It is.
And so when you speak about God in this context, how people react? Do they strange science and religion, God and science together? This is something new also?
Right. I think some couples come in knowing that this is faith-based, and they appreciate that. And then I think the science is a supplement, is a extra benefit for them. And then you have the couples who really want it to be scientifically sound. And then you kind of work with them to be more open to the faith aspect of it.
Because it's very important.
Yeah.
Because when you speak about avoiding pregnancies, the only way of doing this in these methods is not having sex.
Right, is having self-control. Absolutely. Is respecting the time of fertility as being a time when you could create new life, and the couple has to select days only of infertility. They would abstain on those days. But what we tell them is on those days, when you're abstaining, it doesn't mean that you don't love each other or that you can't express love. We want them to express love in what we call non-genital ways. We want them to be tender and affectionate with each other. We want them to spend quality time and be, just sweet with each other, the way that couples are before they ever become genitally active, right, in their relationships. So, when you're dating, when you're in your courtship, you know that you love each other even before you say it, because of the way you act, the things that you do, the way you are with each other. And we want couples to come back to that courtship, to come back to that tender and affectionate time, to hold them over until they can really express themselves fully and physically and intimately with the lovemaking during the infertile times. So we really want to help them to love each other better, because I think our culture is very, we like to say in Creigthon model, we say very genitally centered. It's a hyper-sexual, hyper-genital culture.
Exactly.
And we have to realize that intercourse, lovemaking is a very important part of a married sexual relationship. But it's only a small part of a healthy, total marriage, sacramental marriage. And so we put it in its place. We respect it, and we find that couples, they have, with that extra respect for the lovemaking, they enjoy it more, because it's not something that they can have all the time, and it's not something that they can take for granted. And I think that's what happens in couples who contracept, is that this is not something that they intend, but when they contracept, they shut the fertility down, and then they say, okay, we have access now to each other 24/7. But really, how exciting is that? After a time?
And it becomes very central in just one way of loving each other. So
yes.
That is marvelous, because in what you are saying, I was thinking this is a great answer for these sexualized relationships that we all feel the pressures to live, because even if we are Catholic and married, we feel this pressure of society of living our relationships in a sexualized way.
Right.
And that's very beautiful what you just said. We really need to discover that beautiful inside of us and in our love.
Absolutely. The way we were created is perfect. Children are the fruit of our love, and we need to respect the fertility that creates the children. And our philosophy in fertility care is that every child should be loved. The culture, influenced by Planned Parenthood and organizations like that, say that every child should be planned. And that is a very limited perception of children, and it doesn't perceive them as a gift. And so I think it's led to so many of the problems we've had in our culture and our society.
Yes.
And we know that Pope Paul VI, in Humanae Vitae, he predicted all of this. He knew that if we shut down our fertility, if we denied that life-giving ability within the man and the woman, that all of these horrible consequences would come. And we're living that today. It's just, it's a difficult time.
And in the opposite way, couples with fertility problems, and they also, the world often offers to them some solutions that are not also respecting this gift of God. The fertility care system can do something for these couples?
Absolutely. So we were talking earlier a little bit about how we can actually address and correct the gynecologic problems that women have. Well, infertility, the inability to become pregnant, is not a diagnosis. We say it's not a diagnosis. It is a symptom of an underlying problem. And so we can actually use the fertility care system to identify the underlying problem And then we use the NAPRO technology to help correct those problems and to restore normal natural fertility. So what we do is restorative reproductive medicine. And so we will bring the women's fertility back to a normal state. So if she is subfertile, we'll bring her back to normal. Because all we want to be is normal, right, girls?
Yeah.
We just want to be normal.
Yes.
If our fertility is not working correctly, we don't feel normal. And our husbands know that we don't feel normal. We don't feel right. We feel like we should be able to feel like a woman and to have normal cycles and to be able to make babies.
That's very beautiful. Also, another point that you just refer, the notion of couple,
Right.
a woman and a man together to embrace the life that
Right.
comes. Because our society nowadays deals with this great problem of having children without parents.
Right.
This
And
is
we don't need
also-
men.
We don't
Right?
need
Women
men.
are raised to think that they don't need men, right?
This is a very big problem also for us.
It is.
In
it
your
is.
perception as a nurse, how do you feel this? This is
Well-
a big lie for our society.
I think it really is, and it's unfortunate because I think, just like you were saying in terms of fertility, we can help couples to create life, we can restore their natural fertility, but often women don't think they even need the men. They can go to get the donor sperm, or they can get inseminated or have IVF or something, without even having to have the man, and it does really separate, even if you are in a couple, it separates you. You don't even have to go to the doctor at the same day when you have these technologies done to you. So we're able to, with the system, to maintain that connection. And I think with men, men have gotten the message, really, that women don't really need them. And I think men have forgotten how to be men. And I think the key to this, as a friend told me recently, she said to me, she says, I think the key is within the woman. The woman needs to make the man feel needed again. We need fathers, we need husbands. We need
men to be men.
Men to be men. And if we can do that by being women and not contracepting and not shutting our fertility down, and being more like women will allow men to be more like men.
We are almost in the end of this program because the time is always our difficulty. Just a last question. How can, in your opinion, fertility care helps to create a culture of life as St. Paul II promoted in the new evangelization?
Absolutely. I think because so many of our problems are in our culture are related to our perception of sexuality. I think John Paul II, he wanted us to restore the marriage, the family. He wanted us to have that respect again. And I think having really good, effective alternatives to contraceptives and to assisted reproductive technologies that are so destructive, I think is going to be the key to that. Giving couples really good options for family planning or for gynecologic health, so they don't even have to go to the contraceptives anymore. I think we really like to believe that fertility care, NAPRO technology is really going to be the answer to the contraceptive mentality and really be the foundation of creating a culture of life, because it's about how we think about life and how we think about love. It's all about that.
And we have a lot of work to do.
We do, but we always say, we feel very overwhelmed sometimes when we're teaching couples, but, because the world is such a dark place. But as Christians, we need to be the light. You need to be the one little light in the room. And our dream is that we can just get the opportunity to help and to evangelize one couple at a time, because we're going to change the whole family with that one couple. And every baby changes the whole world.
Thank you. Yeah. Angelique, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It was very, very good to listen to you and to all the things you have just said and shared with us. Eu tenho a certeza que você também adorou este programa. Podemos aqui ouvir falar de ciência e religião Como vê, as duas estão juntas. Não há porquê ter medo. Não há porquê dizer que certas coisas não são científicas ou que a ciência não tem uma resposta que possa respeitar o Evangelho, porque tem. Por isso, não deixe de viver também na esfera do seu matrimónio e da sua sexualidade o respeito total por aquilo que Deus também deseja para nós, sermos conforme Ele nos criou, sua imagem e semelhança. Foi uma alegria poder estar consigo. O meu nome é Sofia Nascimento. Espero por si na próxima semana.
Deus é o ponto de partida e onde vamos ficar. Pobreza ou fartura.